Hey friends, welcome to another video here on my channel. Today I wanted to expand a little bit on the whole Candida topic because last week we had kind of touched on it, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about it because it's been years since I have made any videos about Candida. So I did want to bring it up now because I've discovered a lot of things, and looking back on my past, I have some theories as to why I was finally able to get rid of my Candida. Thank you so much for joining me again for another video. If you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, click like on the video, and click the little bell if you want to get notifications sent to you whenever I post a new video. And don't forget, we've got 40% off any or all of our raw vegan recipe ebooks and informational ebooks. That includes my brand new 300-page raw vegan transition guide. So if you've been thinking about transitioning over to a raw vegan diet, this is a great transition guide to help you. It's got all kinds of stuff. I tried to add everything that I could possibly think of in there, like from dental care to how to shop, how to store your produce, calorie density, why you need to eat enough, and how to track calories, and all kinds of stuff. I've got everything that I could possibly think of in there, and a lot of things that don't have anything to do with diet either. So go check it out. Everything is 40% off. My burger book, my soup book, my dips and dressings book, my 3 meal plans, my cravings course, everything is 40% off. If you use code RAWFOOD40 at checkout, you get that delicious discount and you can enjoy adding more raw foods to your life. So today, as I mentioned, I want to talk about Candida and what I have kind of discovered over the last couple of years. So like I said, it's been a long time since I've made a Candida video, and I suffered with Candida overgrowth for, I don't know, like 15 years out of my life. I was diagnosed early on in like my super late teens, like 19, 20 area. And I did lots of anti-Candida stuff. I did the diets, the low carb thing. I did the Weston A. Price thing. I took herbs and pills and probiotics and all kinds of stuff. You name it, I did a lot of stuff to try and get rid of my Candida. And it was just constantly overgrown. I would have like either a bladder infection or a yeast infection every 1 to 2 months. Or I would have a flu or a cold or something. I was always feeling sick with something, some reason. I had a lot of gut issues like gas and bloating and constipation and diarrhea and IBS. And like sometimes the gas and bloating was so painful that I couldn't sit down or lay down or walk or stand still. Like it didn't matter what I was doing. Nothing seemed to relieve it except time. And it was just a lot of suffering in between there, trying to wait for the gas to go away. So there were a lot of digestive issues. I had severe Candida, I had tons of cravings and brain fog and irritability, all of the classic symptoms of having Candida overgrowth, which I did realize eventually, like now that I've been on this path for almost 9 years now, it really boiled down to changing the foundation of what I was eating. And what I didn't realize, and this is the reason why I wanted to make this video, what I didn't realize back then was that I was actually rebuilding my microbiome without even realizing it. Because I had tried, you name it, like I said, I used to work at a natural health food store in Canada. I worked there for just over a decade, and I had access to all kinds of stuff. I had access to free probiotics and free cleanse kits, and I got everything like at wholesale prices, and I was gifted a lot of complimentary stuff from companies to try this herbal cleanse and try this and do this, blah, blah, blah. I went to a naturopathic doctor and they had me on all kinds of stuff. And yeah, I did a lot. But the one thing that I really wasn't doing when I look back on those 15 years that I was dealing with it, I never changed the foundation of what I was doing every day. And I wasn't building my microbiome. I was always either really restricting my food variety, I was restricting my calories, I would do those like the low carb kind of anti-candida diets where I was eating very minimal amounts of variety and very low fiber. I was also, again, calorie cutting. So I was not eating very many calories from not very much variety. And even though it may have like kind of helped a little bit, it wasn't sustainable long term. And it would just, the candida would just creep on back into my life. And I could never figure out what was the problem. What I do now realize is that when I changed over and started eating a raw vegan diet, I was eating more fiber. I was eating way more variety than I ever had in my whole life. And like back then, I thought that was a lot of variety. I eat way more variety now, like way more, especially the inulin-rich foods, the cruciferous veggies. I've got lots of more garlic and onions and those kinds of things in my diet that really help to build my microbiome. And you guys have known, if you've been watching my videos, you know that we like to do our microbiome testing, and my test results have improved dramatically just in the last year alone. And I've been doing this for a long time. So I can only imagine how low and weak my microbiome was when I first started. If I was under extreme dysbiosis, then definitely having little bits of fiber and growing would change my microbiome to the point where the candida just left on its own. It died off on its own because the ecology changed in my gut. It wasn't just the fact that I stopped eating the junk food, because I had done that in the past. And it wasn't just stopping the junk food, but it was increasing the fiber variety and the amount of food that I was eating. I was eating way more calories, and I was eating a lot more fiber and fiber variety. So even though I didn't realize it back then, I was building my microbiome. And my microbiome is what fought off the yeast by itself. So that's kind of like the epiphany that I wanted to share with you in this video, is because some people have asked me about my Candida experience in my life. And I really believe that it was because I changed the foundation of what I was eating, and I built my microbiome with that change because I had started eating a lot more variety and started feeding my own army that fought it off themselves. So yeah, I did take like, a few oregano oil capsules, but it wasn't like I was like in like this, I'm taking this for anti-candida. I just took them. I had a bottle in my cupboard and I was taking them. And I did take a few probiotics, but I was eating more fermented foods like sauerkraut, and I still do today. Eat lots of sauerkraut and kimchi and miso, other fermented foods like natto and tempeh, some other things like that for the good bacteria, and the prebiotics from those foods is really great. And that also helped to build my microbiome a little bit. And back then, I thought that the probiotics were helping to replenish my gut. But now with the new science that's coming out, it's showing that it's actually not replenishing your bacteria the way we think that it is. So what happens is when you take a probiotic pill, it's what they call now transient. So it's kind of like hiring workers to help clean up after a party. They're not really like the full-time staff at the event. They're more like you hire them, they come, they help clean up, and then they leave. That's kind of what probiotics are. They help clean up, but if you aren't going to be increasing your fiber and your fiber variety, then you're not going to effectively grow your microbiome. So even though probiotics can be helpful by being the cleanup crew, you have to also at the same time feed your colony, because they're cleaning things up and they're like, okay, we got everything clean, now feed, right? So they're kind of there to help crowd control in a way, so to speak, to help you be able to build your own microbiome so that when it grows, it is powerful enough to help keep your gut in balance with the other stuff that's in there. And now, like I said in my last video, like 6 years ago, I was talking about how we cannot get rid of Candida 100%, which is true. There's no it's completely gone. It just doesn't happen that way. It's that now Candida lives harmoniously with everything else, with your commensal bacteria, your probiotics, and everything else that lives in your gut. Everyone kind of lives in harmony with each other, and a candida isn't overgrown and causing all those issues because your bacteria is weaker. So more variety, more fiber, lots more greens and leafy veggies. Keep it low fat. You can still do the fruit. I ate a lot of fruit when I was dealing with my candida, and it didn't bother me at all because I was eating low fat, which I still strive to do. But I was also eating a lot of greens and a lot of foods that feed the microbiome. And like I said, I had no idea that's what I was doing back then, but I was growing my gut with all of the greens and the vegetables and the garlic and the onions. And some people would tell me like the garlic is antibacterial, so it kills your bacteria, which isn't true actually. The inulin in garlic actually feeds your good bacteria, and the antibacterial properties kill off the undesirable bacteria. So garlic is actually a really incredible gut microbiome food, as are onions, cruciferous vegetables. Cruciferous vegetables actually also provide a lot of nutrition to help support the phase 2 of your liver detox. And we're going to talk about that in a future video. But cruciferous vegetables with the fiber and the glucosinolates in there, they are a powerhouse of a food source. So they're really, really great. And I was eating a lot of cabbage and broccoli and stuff back then because in Canada, I really didn't have access to the most amazing fruit. And I'm not saying that we should be eating an entirely fruit-based diet. I personally don't agree with that. I think that we really are missing a huge part of the puzzle by not consuming more leafy greens and cruciferous veggies and roots and more garlic and onions and stuff like that. We can have an abundance of everything and it all works together harmoniously. We get more minerals, we get more proteins, we get more all kinds of good stuff. It's just really great. And I think that that was the thing that helped me the most with healing my candida and fixing my gut dysbiosis was the amount of fiber that I started eating and the amount of variety. And changing over to a raw diet, yeah, I wasn't eating cooked food and stuff, but I was eating so much more variety and fiber that was what was healing my gut microbiome. And when you feed your gut high fiber foods, it feeds the bacteria, and the bacteria produce short-chain fatty acids. And those short-chain fatty acids fuel your colon cells. Your colon cells then, using that fuel, can heal leaky gut. Those holes that are created in your gut from the yeast that kind of like they grow roots through your gut, which causes things like allergies. So to heal leaky gut, not only are you growing your microbiome to fight off the yeast, but you're also feeding your colon cells so that they can heal your gut as well. So hopefully this video helped someone out there who might be dealing with dysbiosis or what have you. I recommend checking out Ombre Lab or Viome and get a microbiome test done. They don't test for candida or those kinds of things. They test the strength of your microbiome and they give you suggested foods. Like most people can benefit from adding more sunchokes, asparagus, garlic, onions, shallots, leeks, cauliflower, and cruciferous veggies, and any of those foods, fermented foods as well, to help boost up their microbiome and feed them those prebiotic inulin fibers to feed them. So that will help you fight off the yeast without you having to fight it off, right? So to speak, your bacteria is going to fight it off for you. So it's not so much of a hurdle or like an insurmountable challenge that you have with this dysbiosis that's happening. It does take time. I will say that it does take time. It takes consistency and it takes patience with yourself. Going slow at first with new fibers if you're not used to it. Like if you have problems digesting broccoli, start with the sprouts. Start with broccoli microgreens and start with smaller amounts and then slowly work up to eating more of them. Maybe add a little bit of the mature broccoli and just grow the amount of foods and varieties that you're consuming. But again, like I said, it takes time. It's not like one day all of a sudden you can digest all of this stuff if you have a dysbiotic gut. So you do have to go slow, be patient, and be kind to yourself. I'm always here if you need to ask me questions. Send me a message on Instagram. I'm more than happy to answer and brainstorm with you, help you with any challenges that you have, but I'm here to help. So check me out over there at Raw Food Romance. And also, if you want to add more raw foods to your life, you can get our transition guide and our meal plans and recipes, our burgers, our soups, all kinds of raw goodies in our ebooks. The code to get 40% off is rawfood40, and you can find the link in the description box below. And if you like this video, click like. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll be back again for another video. Thank you so much for joining me. I love you all, and fruit on.